Bienvenidos a Saber y Danza, un lugar para descubrir la danza con propósito y conciencia, bailar con intención, aprender con pasión y vivir la danza plenamente. Soy Isabel Burgos Rossi y conmigo hoy está Luca Marchiori, escritor y editor de gastronomía anglo-italiano y bailarín entrenado bajo la metodología del Royal Academy of Dance desde los 8 años. Voy a cambiar a inglés rapidito, pero no se preocupen porque vamos a tener la traducción aquí abajo, así que no se preocupen. Voy a cambiar de idioma. Welcome, Luca. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So I was curious, growing up, did you always want to be a dancer since you started early on at 8 years old?
Yes, I remember when I first wanted to become a dancer, it was because my parents took me to the theatre to see a company who were called the Sadler's Wells Royal Ballet. Today they're called the Birmingham Royal Ballet. And they were doing a ballet called La Fille Malgardée. And I remember being completely enthralled by it. And at the end of the ballet, when the curtain went down and the lights came up, I turned to my parents and said, that's what I want to do. I want to become a ballet dancer. And within a few days, my father had booked me some ballet lessons. And that was it. I never looked back.
Oh, wow. So they were very supportive, like right on. They were like, let's go.
Yeah, my dad was Italian, my mum's English. We were growing up in England. And I don't know, my dad was a bit more Italian about it. It's like, I think he looked at me and said, no son of mine is going to become a ballet dancer, and then promptly went off and booked the lessons. I think he just felt he had to protest that actually, but no, they were both very, very supportive. And my dad was very into classical music and dance and opera. I mean, they took me to see the ballet for a start.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
From a very young age.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
And yeah, so they were very supportive. I think they wanted me to do something a little bit more academic, but they respected my wishes and my choices. So
that's good. That's nice. That doesn't always happen. So
no,
that's great.
No, not at all. And I must say they were very, very generous with financially as well, with paying for lessons, and they got me all the equipment I needed and the shoes and everything, and that lasted all the way through, really. So they never complained or said no to any of that. So I'm very grateful to them.
Okay. So you started right at 8 years of age. Up to what level or grade did you reach in the Royal Academy of Dance?
Well, I trained for 10 years.
Okay.
The first 7 years were at a local dance school in the town where we lived, and I started at grade 1, and I did all my examinations through to the final examination I did was intermediate, and I was studying for advanced when I finished my training. The system's a little bit different today. The grades are a bit different. There were only 6 grades, and then 4 what they call major examinations. I think today they call them vocational examinations. Yep. Yeah. So there was pre-elementary, elementary, intermediate, and advanced.
Okay.
And so the intermediate level, the old intermediate level, is advanced 1 in the current system.
Today,
so I only had 1 more exam to go, and I finished everything. And I was training for that exam when I left school. So.
That's when you decided to not continue, right?
Well, I graduated from school,
Okay.
and basically I should have had an extra year, but the school that I was at unfortunately closed down. And so rather than, I've been given offers to go to another school to do my final year of training, but I thought, no, I'm gonna go out and audition and try and work now like some of my colleagues did. But unfortunately, I'm only 5'7", which 35 years ago in Britain was too short to be a dancer. So after trying, that's why I gave up dancing, was because there was no chance of me getting a job because I was too short, which is a real shame.
Yeah, like you didn't think or you didn't see that you would have probably could do a long career.
Yeah. Well, my last 3 years were at a professional academy, full-time training. And when I passed the audition and they took me, they said, if you don't grow in the next couple of years, then it's going to be very difficult for you.
Yeah.
And in fact, so they were always commenting on it. And one of my teachers, I had a very, very lovely, supportive teacher who was the same height as me.
Oh.
And but he had been a principal dancer with the Royal Ballet Company in the 1950s and 60s. There's a guy called Peter Clegg. And he always used to say, "Oh, I'll give you some extra exercises or give you some tips on how to grow, if it becomes that desperate." And he was always very, very nice. But no, it was a problem.
Oh, wow.
And I've often wondered, was it a real problem or was it an excuse that I gave? And I don't think it was an excuse that I gave to give up, because I desperately wanted to do this. Yeah. And I was talking about this just before Christmas last year with one of my teachers from the professional academy, and she said, no, that was the problem. It was a problem. So
it was a situation of ballet back then that, and if your teachers
Yes,
are telling you, like, no, you gotta grow, like, it wasn't, I don't think it came from you, it came from the outside.
Exactly, yes it did.
Okay. And then what brought you back to dance?
Well, after I stopped dancing, this is funny, I was reading something on Reddit the other day and somebody had exactly the same experience, that when I stopped dancing, I didn't want anything to do with ballet whatsoever because it was too painful. So I didn't go to the ballet, I couldn't listen to any music from ballets, I couldn't watch any TV programs about ballet. Luckily there was no YouTube in those days, so it was easier to avoid, and I completely stopped doing any exercise or anything like that because it was just too hard. And then a few years ago, I needed to get fit again because I was getting older, and fitness is a bit of a problem when you get older. And so I was basically told by the doctor I should go to the gym and do some exercise, and I hate running and I hate all those different things. And I suddenly thought, why don't I dance? I could do ballet. So I looked to see if there were any local possibilities and suddenly found that there are adult ballet classes everywhere. So I started doing ballet again in order to get fit, and then fell in love with it. And well, I don't think I ever fell out of love with it, but I rediscovered that I could cope with it now.
Yeah, that connection.
Emotionally and psychologically. So yeah.
You said you saw that there was this more options for adults in taking ballet classes. Was that something that happened like before when you were growing up, like that rigidness?
I mean, I wasn't really aware of whether there were adult ballet classes. I know that my school, growing up, which now does adult ballet classes, didn't do them at the time. And I don't think it was a thing. I think if you did ballet classes, it was because you were expecting to have a career in ballet. And so it was not seen as a recreational thing like it is today. It was seen as a much more serious thing. And if you couldn't dance professionally, then there was no point in doing it. And which is a real pity. Yeah. Because nowadays it feels much more open to everybody. And the number of adult ballet people that you see on Instagram, on YouTube, and also you just put adult ballet classes near me, you find them all over the place. And of course, the Royal Academy of Dance now has the Silver Swans program, which is specifically for people aged 55 and over. I'm not there yet. 55 and over, I'm almost there. So, and again, really encouraging adults to dance and to enjoy it, and to with no pressure that you have to become a professional.
Yeah. So would you say that rigidness and non-diversity that was before, it has changed over time?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And again, you can see this in things like the Silver Swans program and in things like the adult ballet classes. You can also see it when you look at a ballet company now. You see a much more diverse shape of bodies. You see shorter people, you see, I mean, in my day, you had to be, the girls all had to, we're talking end of the 1980s, early 1990s, which is when the supermodels were in fashion. And ballerinas, in the UK at least, and in America, had to look like a supermodel. They had to be stick thin, they had to be tall, they had to have long legs. And that's why the boys had to be taller, because when a girl's wearing point shoes, she's 6 inches taller than she is on the flat, and it looks a bit silly if the boy is shorter than the girl. And also the corps de ballets, now you see that there's variation in heights, and they put the taller ones in the middle. In those days, no, all the members of the corps de ballet were the same height. Everything was much more rigid. Whereas today you see a much more variety in body shape, body type, height, all those different things. So yeah, I'd say it's become a lot less rigid than it was.
And how else have you seen, at least specifically the Royal Academy of Dance, how have they evolved or changed over the years?
Well, the most striking change or evolution is in their name, because they used to be called the Royal Academy of Dancing, and they're now called the Royal Academy of Dance.
Okay.
So sometime in the last 35 years they've changed the name. And yes, I think they've become more open to different kinds of dance and different kinds of dance experience. Now I've been taking classes at the current intermediate syllabus from the Royal Academy of Dance, and there are 2 variations for the men and the women to choose from, and the second variation's got elements of contemporary dance in it. It's got the feet turned in, lots of body bends and contemporary dance moves, and that would have been unthinkable 30 years ago. 30 years ago, the Royal Academy of Dance was famous for being classical ballet, and that's it. And they were very traditional and very classical in the way that and the Royal Ballet Company in Britain as well, which was the pinnacle of dance. That's what everybody aspired to be. They did very classical ballets and not much contemporary. Nowadays they do a lot of very contemporary things. One of the most famous contemporary ballets is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, in which one character tap dances all the way through the ballet. The Mad Hatter does tap dancing, not classical ballet. So I think the world generally has moved to that, and certainly the Royal Academy of Dance has started embracing that kind of thing more.
Okay. Even in the styles,
Yeah.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they were very rigid. If you wanted to do anything that wasn't classical ballet, you had to go to a different organisation. There was an organisation which is still around called the ISTD, the Imperial Society of Teachers of Dancing, and that did modern dance and tap dance and classical ballet in different forms, but they were considered to be more geared towards the modern, whereas the Royal Academy was, no, this is classical ballet and that's it.
Oh, wow.
And that's changed a lot.
So it's moving with the world.
Exactly,
Nice.
yes. Yeah.
So how does ballet benefit you now, like today?
How does it benefit you now? Well, physically, it keeps me fit, and as I move into the last third of my life, I want to stay physically fit. Gotcha. It's much harder to do. You put on weight and you become stiffer, and your body just basically starts to go downhill. Whereas if you're doing something active, which involves a lot of stretching and is hard, then that obviously keeps you fit. But also, it's I don't know. It's reawakened the because with my age, I can't do a lot of the really hard things like double saut de basque and double tour en l'air, because your body you can't jump so high as you used to. I'm finding that I'm leaning much more towards the expression side, which was always there, the interpretation of the expression and the arms and all that kind of thing. And I feel much more confident than I did then. So again, it's giving me a nice artistic release. And it's also very meditative. It's very good for you. It makes you feel happy. You can feel really depressed. And you go into ballet class and you come out feeling really happy. I think I don't know what the chemical is that it releases in your body. Endorphins, yes, yeah. Exactly. So generally it's, there's a lot of things I get out of it.
That's really interesting, because probably like younger Luca was focused on like technique and the physical of like what can my body do, like blah blah blah. And now the focus is more about like being present or like expressing.
About dancing, exactly,
yeah.
about dancing. I think when I was younger, I think there was a little bit more emphasis from the teachers on that aspect than there is today. When we were looking 30 years ago, when we were looking at dancers from 30 years before, people like Margot Fontaine, the technique that they had looked really bad. They looked like a student, but the expression was amazing. And again, when we see dancers today, again, the technique has continued in another, whereas we were as far in the future from that as dancers are today from where we were training. And again, now you see dancers with the most amazing extensions and really pointed feet and really, amazing technique, which has become normal. But I think there seems to be something missing a little bit in expression. I think people are more conscious of that and conscious of doing tricks and doing like 65 pirouettes rather than doing their expression as well. We were trying to do 65 pirouettes too. We were trying to get extensions right up by our ears. In fact, that started when I was training because the really high extensions came from a French dancer called Sylvie Guillem, who had trained as a gymnast before she became a ballet dancer with the Paris Opera, and she had these amazing extensions. She had these 180 degree or more than 180 degree penchés, which a lot of people have now, but she was, the only one who really had that. So yeah, I think it's always been there, but now I think I'm never going to get 180 degree penché anymore. The leg's probably not going to get back past 90 degrees. So I'm not so worried about trying to get those technical aspects back. I want to improve my technique always.
Yeah.
But so I can concentrate more on the dance. And I think there was an expression. I watched an interview when I was much younger with a ballerina called Dame Margot Fontaine, who still today she's considered to be the best ballerina of all time in the UK. She's the only ballerina with the Royal Ballet Company who's got the title of Prima Ballerina Assoluta. It's the only time it's ever been given out. And she was asked about this once, and she said, well, music is the raison d'etre of dance. There'd be no dance if there wasn't music. Yeah. So the music is really important, and it's, dance is interpreting music. So I've always tried to, so I try that even more. I think about that every time I stand at the bar, every time, I move my arm, every time I do a plie, I try and fill the whole of the music with the plie. Every time I do a battement tendre, I go right to the end and then come back and really try to, try to embody the music and stuff. And I think I'm more conscious of that now because I'm less conscious of trying to jump 6 feet in the air. Yeah. Or trying to get a flat courgette.
Yeah. Looking back, would you do anything differently?
Yes, I wouldn't have given up. I would have not given up and abandoned the dance world. I would have done something to stay in it. Either I would have moved more. I mean, I was already training for musical theatre as well. Okay. So I had to do singing and acting and all those kind of things. But I just abandoned everything because I was like, no, if I can't be a ballet dancer, I can't have anything to do with this. It's too hard. I would have said, I wish there had been somebody there at the time to say, no, back up. Yeah. You need to sort this out. But like I say, the school where I was at was closing. It was one of the oldest ballet schools in the UK. It was the second most prestigious after the Royal Ballet School. But the owners didn't want. The owners wanted to retire, and they didn't want to hand the school on to anybody else. So they said, "Well, for a time, we're going to close the school," and which was amazing. So all the teachers who knew that I was going to give up were not there to support me because they were all worried about their jobs and all those things. So yeah, so I would not have given up, and maybe I would have become a teacher. I became a teacher. I became a language teacher. Eventually, that was my career before I became a writer and editor, and I love teaching. So I wouldn't have given up. But that's the one thing I would have changed. I would have kept a stronger connection with the ballet world. Or gone to a country where there were short people.
And you were tall among them.
Exactly. Yes.
I guess it's just like a thing about like where you were, like your ambience, like around you, like it didn't help, like how you said.
Exactly. I think I was just very unlucky that I didn't have any. And my parents were even my parents were going through a divorce at the time.
Oh, God.
So they were more preoccupied with that.
Yeah.
And my mother, I think, was secretly pleased that, because I decided to go to university instead when I stopped dancing. And she was secretly pleased that I was going to get a proper job.
Yeah.
So she'd never have admitted that. Both my parents have gone now. And so I can't talk about this to them, but that's what I think.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
And thank you for being with us here in Saber y Danza. We will be seeing more of you, or should I say reading more of you in our magazine, Viviendo la Danza.
Exactly.
So I'm excited for that.
For that too.
Did you want to add anything, or maybe like plug in any of your...
Yeah, I was going to say, I just want to talk to the younger people quickly out who might be watching this and who are thinking, oh, my career is going to be over when I'm 30 or 35 or 40. There used to be a thing when I was younger, you had to retire from the Royal Ballet Company when you were 42 years old.
Oh.
And I'm still going at least 10 years after that. And don't give up. And the ballet will always be there, and you'll always be able to do it, and you'll always be able to have some kind of connection with it. So, don't think, oh, my career's really limited, because there will always be ways to stay in touch and enjoy.
Yeah, I'm actually, just because you said that, I have to say this. I was writing an article for Viviendo la Danza that the title is like, you can leave ballet, but ballet will never leave you.
Exactly, that's true. And it doesn't leave you in many ways, least of all in your muscle memory. Because when I started dancing again, I found I remembered all the steps and I could do them. I remembered how they felt. And the first time I tried to do them, my body wouldn't cooperate. I thought, okay, it feels like this. And you'd just do it and your body just wouldn't do what it was supposed to do. But that comes back. Because it never really leaves you as well. It never leaves your body.
Yeah.
Or your mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say your brain. Well, thank you. Thank you for
pleasure.
your time.
Thank you.
Gracias a ustedes por compartir con nosotros en este episodio de Saber y Danza. Recuerden que pueden conseguir nuestra revista Viviendo la Danza, es una revista, ya saben, que es cultural y académica. La pueden conseguir impresa en axdance.com. También está disponible en Casa Norberto en Plaza de las Américas y en la librería Bubble Books acá en los outlets de Canóvanas. Pueden ver la versión digital en Issue, en nuestro Issue, y en Amazon Kindle la pueden conseguir ahí. Nos pueden seguir en Instagram y en X como AXDA PR y en Facebook y LinkedIn como Alicia Extreme Dance Academy. No olviden darle like y encender las notificaciones, siguen llegando más episodios, así que no se pierdan nada y recuerden, baila con conocimiento, vive con intención. Hasta la próxima.